So, this is the review of Suits Season 1, Episode 3, A Wild Kevin Appears. I didn't know a perfect, a title or a thumbnail aside from this which would get me more views, so I chose this. But I would probably say this was the episode where I was the least bothered by, the Suits' regular antics. I think the main things that we kind of got to know about, like personality wise, in this episode is like they really showed about how Stuart's stubborn, about how Ted's stubbornness, like about how his, like him being stubborn has cost him a lot in his, professional career and all, and how that we see about how both were kind of like different lawyers. In earlier episodes we saw how Ted turned from, a prosecutor to a entertainment lawyer, and how in this episode we saw how Stuart turned from an entertainment lawyer to a criminal defense lawyer. And I think one thing that this show still doesn't know how to do is like get those funny quips that the original Suits got. I think it worked with the original Suits was because it was like a one of a kind. It was the starting of a show, and this is a spin off of the show. So it kind of doesn't work. You can see that they're trying to do the jokes in the same way that the Suits guys did, and they're not that funny as those guys were. Like even those guys were like when they did those jokes, it did seem kind of forced, but it was unique. So you kind of like let that go. But it is not unique there here. So it gets a little bit, like it gets a little bit like, yeah, like what are you doing, guys? The thing is, overall, like this episode was mostly about, you had a wild Kevin Malone from Office appear. I don't know what his full name is. What is it? Billy Baumgartner or what? And you had, the guy who voiced the rat from Ratatouille also here. Like it was mostly about Erica Erica and Leah like working together. Like this episode showed about how their relationship is growing. And you know what? This is the most that I have smiled the entire episode. Like the banter between Erica and Leah. Like that was where I smiled the most. So I am liking the dynamic. Only thing that I am not invested in. I like Erica as a character, but I don't take her seriously. Like she is not some Jessica. And then you have Ted's secretary where she's kind of like the Donna, like because she's the strong woman. Like yeah, like when she goes to tell other people, they don't really like get offended that she's the secretary telling that to the other person, because they know what her value is. But the thing is, she's a side character that we don't really get to like see much. She's not really in any major scenes, and also that we haven't really gotten to know her that much. So it's like you're trying to show her as a strong character, but she doesn't really matter that much. You also had the thing that, Lester is going crazy because he finds out that his wife cheated on him with his best friend. And then you have that saga going on that her wife asked for Stuart Lane to represent him because, she wants someone that she can trust, drawing parallels between Lester wanting someone he could trust, even though, like, Stuart Lane is not a divorce lawyer. Then you had, back and forth going into like the previous timelines where Stuart agrees to be the lawyer of the scumbag witness that they have who killed the original witness. And he agrees to do that, like being under security, being under threat, just because he's such a great friend. And I think what they tried to show was the bond between them. And not gonna lie, I didn't really like the dynamic at the starting of the series. I do kind of like their dynamic now. Like I'm getting invested into their dynamic too. Like what's really mysterious right now is the dynamic that he has with his ex-girlfriend, like Samantha, like who is with Stuart now. And you get like how he feels betrayed. Like you see Ted go off the rails, you know as a lawyer a few times in this episode. So, so you see about how you also see how the guy who has gone to work for Stewart, like Samantha tells him to fire three people. I think this was the most like cookie cutter segment I have ever seen. Like this happens on Suits forever. Like she just gave him three guys to fire. Not really. She just wanted to test him that he could do what it takes. Like this is just a normal thing to do, like firing. Like if you wanted to show it as something bigger, at least like present it as such. It just felt like they did that to fill the time in the episode. The thing is also we now know that Erica and Rick have been in a relationship before, so we also see that Erica took Rick's advice and she did the whole what the client wants things with uh, you know uh, Kevin Malone, because Kevin Malone wanted a meeting with Tom Hanks, and because he wanted to be more than what he is of his office character. Like I can't remember his real name, that's why I'm calling him Kevin Malone. And I probably think this is probably the most meta segment, and I'll probably give them 10 out of 10 stars for the way that they integrated like Kevin's character into this along with Patrick in this. Like them like saying about how they want to be more than that, which is kind of like what the fans have said, what they probably think themselves also, and what the end outcome is. Like they plan this, they tell Patrick to insult Kevin, his roles and everything, because they wanted to light a fire under him, and they do that so Kevin agrees to go for a Broadway play. And in the end, that's kind of the lesson that uh, you have to try things and all that, like basic stuff. But I liked it. I liked the comebacks that they have. I also liked how like she acted like she was doing the Carlton dance, but she was actually like Leah thought she was seizing. She did the Carlton dance much more better than her. I like the fun dynamic between them. I just don't think that the emotional aspect of the relationship between Leah and Erica is hitting me right now. I like the banter between them. It's just that I can't take Erica seriously as a boss. I just can't take her seriously as a boss. And in the episode, you also had things that Lester's wife demands about half the things she would have gotten if they didn't have a prenup. But in the end, first of all, he was not agreeing, Ted, because he kind of went off on him that you cheated on him and you want everything he takes, kind of like doing a duel. He wanted to say that to Stuart as well, but Lester was the one who stopped him, and he was like, you told me to calm down. And then Ted was like, yeah. And he says that, do you value these things more than your life? But he says, nah. And then it happens. He gives it. But then they come to know that there was a party where the friend and his wife were actually dancing, and he was there. The thing was that they printed that article with the headline that he knew about it, but he actually didn't, which they get to know in the interview room when they come to renegotiate, because he can't really see without his glasses, like he's like blind. And also like Ted advises him that this is not the only reason she did not leave you for the money and all, and the blah 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 blah. The thing is like this is the thing that I have problem with it in the show. Like this kind of like justifies cheating. Like what he did with his wife was wrong, like not letting her act and everything, like not paying attention to her. But that doesn't mean you go on and cheat. And that only not cheat with his best friend, the person that he knew. And then come and say, give me half of the things. Okay, you were with him, you're not acting, you need few things to live. So what you want to live is half. Like this is promoting bad things, which I can't stand for. This is something that I don't agree upon. This is just wrong. Just wrong. You also have the aspect that also another, that his father has died, and he actually wants Stuart Lane to be the executor of his will, which he didn't know. And they have a big spat about it, which which this causes dissension between them, because both times, like be it with Lester's wife, be it here, like he kind of gets bamboozled by the information there. And if you see it by Stuart's perspective, Stuart is like I didn't really bamboozle you. One time I didn't know, and second time that I did know, I went to tell you, but you didn't even hear me. And that's the way that we kind of see like their relationship also go on further. Like when Stuart is with uh, with Ted, after Ted has kind of like played the witness, because he comes and he kind of threatens him that I'll cut you loose or take the deal. So he takes the deal. He kind of uses his father to do that, and saying that that friend means much more to me than you and everything. So then he is there, and he says to Stuart that that guy's just like my father. He only cares about himself, and that's where you know Stuart wants to go for law. And then you have Samantha coming back with Eddie, his little brother, and also like because Ted also announced that he and his wife are gonna have a family, they're gonna get married, and he asked him to be his best man. That's what they do. And they come back, they have a group hug also, and that is where you see him the happiest. Like Ted is seeing that how those three like hugging, he's kind of like the family, but it doesn't happen because Samantha breaks up with him, Eddie dies, and Stuart joins up with Samantha. We didn't see that that fucking uh, that pro ed guy girl there also. I think there were like dynamics, like they were trying. And also, why did Samantha bring the conversation about if we hadn't broke up, you would be a best man to him out of nowhere. I really liked his acting. The guy who played Stuart Lanes, his acting was the best. Like there were times where you can really see he was like taken aback, like he was in almost tears. Like you could see that because like his wife told him, like she's a therapist apparently, that she like that she thinks that Stuart Lane thinks that Ted is probably not going to be fine emotionally. So he is actually really worried about him, and he tells his secretary to tell uh, Ted to bury his father, and he does in the end. Like he like kind of sees his imagination, Eddie imagination. I don't think this is just going to be like a stupid little imagination. I think this is probably going to lead to them finding out that he sees dead people, and it's going to be a big part of the show, kind of like what it was with Harvey. Like in the earlier episodes you kind of saw about how Harley, whenever there were like talk about Mike going or anyone going, you could see that he used to get scared and all, but it was not really a big part. But then eventually when Mike totally left, or when guys totally left, like that's when the therapy angle started. That's when it went into overdrive, and I think at one point of the show you'll probably see that. Then in the end, I think Eric and Ricky had she calls him Ricky. They had a fun little call which ended, and also Ted went to the funeral and all. I think we'll probably see what happens with Lester's case in the next episode. I liked how although I think the Kevin Malone stuff was probably the best thing of this episode. There were certain aspects about how did Rick just come there and just say that if you known his father was dying, like bro, you're an employee, like you cannot just come there and say this shit. I know the kind of relationship they have, it's just that don't. The thing is, I after watching this episode, I am excited about watching the other episodes after it. I may have not explained this in much detail, but I am excited about the show because you have a lot of things coming up for the next episodes, like what went wrong in New York, which is kind of like the main the background of the show, like what went wrong there. Then also the thing is like how did they break up? How did Samantha and Ted break up? Because Ted actually went up and asked Samantha, "Did you know that he was my father executor?" And he also said, I just wanted to know, like, what are the secrets that the person that I have trusted, the people I've trusted to know and everything. And you can say that it really affects that he has gone with Samantha because she's kind of the person that affects him the most. So you can see that. I think what we're gonna see is like, remember that girl from the last episode, like who does like the free cases and everything? She's in that department. I think what's gonna happen is that you're gonna have the old Donna triangle there. What you're probably gonna happen is that uh, they're gonna, reignite their flame, Samantha and Ted, but he's gonna fall in love with the new girl, and he's gonna go for the new girl. There's gonna be a fight between those two. I think that will happen. But I am excited for further episodes because these relationships are going to open a lot more. I liked how, like, I'm getting invested into Stuart and Ted's relationship a lot more. I am excited about Ted and Samantha's relationship also. And the whole Lester case, about how is it going to end, because those two aspects may come back next episode. The lawyer, the prosecutor that they have hired, the woman prosecutor, and the guy that and the girl that they have on their side, they are probably going to come into force in the next episode. And probably we're going to see like what went wrong in the New York case, because like in this episode, it we kind of see that it's going in their favor because he has agreed to the deal. Something is going to go bad, that's going to result into shit. Something is going to go bad. And and I think this was about character development much more, this episode. Like this actually like humanized Stuart Lane, which he had not been humanized to an extent in the first two episodes. Like here you get to know that he has a loving family, he has a wife who he loves very much. He has not divorced anyone. He kind of doesn't take divorce cases because he's so afraid that something may happen between him and his wife also. And also that it also like shows about the negative aspects of Ted, like how his stubbornness, then also about how emotional he really gets, about how he's truly hurt by whatever that Stuart has done to him, how much he cares about that. Erica's side that we are getting is that she's slowly warming up to the other aspects of the job, the more emotional aspects of the job. She's more warming up to that. We are seeing character development, like relationships is getting stronger between her and Leah. So we are getting things like her, the secretary, is getting into a much bigger role. Like Samantha and Rick's relationship as colleagues is getting. I think they need to get more into like what Samantha's role is, because she has a big role. She's probably going to be one of the bigger characters going forward in the show. Like she's probably going to overshadow because of her relationship with Ted. So we got to see what it really is. So overall, I will probably think the the best episode till now. Like this is the episode which I actually was like much more into. I didn't like complain. You can say that it doesn't feel authentic and all, but I am a normal watcher, so I do get involved in these shows like more quickly. But the first two episodes I was not that much into, like I was in this episode. So it gets a thumbs up for me. So what do you think about this episode? Tell me about it in the comment section below. If you like this type of content, like, share, and subscribe. If you don't, then share it with those who do. My social media accounts, which are my Twitter/X and my Instagram accounts, links are in the description, so go follow me on that. My UPI ID link, which is shapo@OKICICI, is in the description also. So go donate any amount of money which you can, which can help me make YouTube a permanent career option. So that was it for me for right now. So thank you. Goodbye. Aluda.